I'll tell you the most important first things you should know. So let's get to it.
Greetings, fellow humans. This is a video on the first 7 bits of HTML everybody should know. That is, everybody who edits a website or writes for a website. First, if you haven't seen the introduction video, it would help to see that first, but it's not critical. Second, this video applies to all websites and all website editors. I'll show examples in WordPress and Wix, and I'll show code examples in Dreamweaver. When I'm showing any of that, it's just to include some examples of editing in code. Regardless, the main points about HTML applies to all editors, all websites, so you should learn how these bits are handled on your site on the system you use. One final thing, this isn't covering everything about these 7 bits, but I'll tell you the most important first things you should know. Hey, Future Dave here. I want to warn you about something. After editing this video, I realize it's kind of dry. Oh, no. It's about code. But it's important info. Like I said in the first video, if you edit your website, you edit the code, and you should know something about it. So this video is like that. It's a little bit dry. Start and stop the video as you need to, or rewatch. I promise you it's the info you need if you're editing a website. It's true. Now, onward. So let's get to it. The 7 bits of HTML everybody should know. And they are title, description, headings, paragraph, alt text, which applies to image, some inline formatting, and links. First, let's do a quick review of the first video. Websites are structured like this most of the time, where there's a head in the HTML. It has the title and description. It's mostly hidden from users, but it's important to search optimization. There's a header that's the same on all pages. It's usually the logo, contact information, navigation. There's also a footer. At the bottom, again, it's usually the same on all pages. What we're concerned with is the content of the page. That includes headings, paragraphs, image alt text, links, text formatting. So, first on the list, title and description. And why are they important? For search optimization, accessibility, and browser labels. The title in particular is used for browser labels as well as search optimization. The title and description are very important for search optimization. Why? Here's why. Here's a typical search results page. This is often where the title shows up, and this is often where the description shows up. That's cool. So make sure you find title and description for every page or every post you edit. Let me show you. Okay. Here we are in WordPress. This particular site uses the Yoast SEO plugin, and that adds a section down below to edit the title. Now, it also uses some code to automatically insert it. I can delete that and enter my own title. And you see up here, it's showing how it might look in a search result. And I could also type a description. Here it's called a meta description. And here's a similar page on Wix. To find it on Wix, on the left, you have a home or a list of pages. I'm going to click on the home, go to settings. And under setting, there's a section for SEO basics. And down here, you find where you can edit the title, and here's where you can edit the description. Where it is on your system depends on the system. Find where the title and description are, edit those for each page. Next up, headings and paragraphs. Why are these important? For accessibility and for search optimization. And here's how headlines and text should be organized. And let's make that a little bigger. Top level should be an H1 tag. Everything in the content should be related to this H1 tag. So the paragraphs and pictures, whatever content comes underneath it. If you're going to add headlines, the next one should be an H2 headline. And it should be related and part of this section that is started with the H1 tag. And all the text should be related to the H2 tag. And under that should be an H3 tag. All the text under that should be related to the H3 tag, which is related to the H2 tag, which is related to the H1 tag. I realize this could seem a little bit constraining. This is like an old style outline, but it is very important for accessibility. It has some relevance to search optimization, but if accessibility is an issue, you absolutely have to organize your text like this. So let's look at it again. H1 should be the top. Everything underneath that should be related to that top level headline, including the next level headline, which should be H2, and the next one under that should be H3 until the content requires another H2. And then under that, paragraphs and pictures related to that headline. Again, if accessibility is important to you, do it this way. One more thing about headlines. Don't choose headlines for the size and the style. It can be tempting. You're going to see different sizes in the system you're using. But headlines should be styled somewhere else in the system. It's sort of an advanced topic, but for now, just take my word for it. If you want an accessible site, don't choose the headlines based on size. Choose the headlines based on the content and that organization outline I mentioned earlier. Now, back to the example on WordPress. Here's the H1 tag. There's text underneath here. I can type more text. When I press enter, usually most systems create another paragraph. Underneath that is an H2 level headline, some more text that's related to that, and then an H3 headline below that, and an H3 headline below that, with more text and pictures. And then when it fits the content, create another H2 level headline. And here's what that would look like in the real world. Top level headline here, text and pictures related to that headline here. Another headline, an H2 level headline, text, another H3 headlines below that. And then at some point, when appropriate, another H2 level headline. So learn how your system handles headlines and text, and organize your headlines in that outline fashion. It's very, very important for accessibility.
Just do it.
Next, images. Now, how you place images, again, it's going to depend on the system. We're not trying to cover that. But what is consistent across all websites is the alt attribute. You might see it called an alt text, alternative text, or image description. This is important for both search optimization and accessibility. So find where your system does it and describe the image for somebody who's listening to a screen reader. So let's take a look at what that looks like in WordPress. So here's the same example. Here's an image that's already been placed. Again, we don't want to go over how to add these. In WordPress, in this case, I have to show more settings. And under more settings, for what is in WordPress is called a block, an image block, there's an alt text. That's the alt description for screen readers and for Google.
What's next?
Next up, some inline formatting. In particular, something called strong and EM. It's good for accessibility and search optimization. You could also use bold or italic. These bold and italic tags, they don't have the same weight as strong and EM. These have extra meaning to screen readers and to Google. So if you want to communicate to Google the importance of words, make sure strong and EM are used. Most systems use these. Let's take a look at an example in WordPress. So here's some text down here. The first thing I need here is text. I'll apply the strong tag. In WordPress, it's called bold, but it actually adds the strong tag. And you can see here, I have already added an italic tag or EM tag. Again, it's important for accessibility and search optimization. Find where your system does that, and where appropriate in the text, add bold and add emphasis or strong and EM tags to your text.
What's next?
Next up, links. So for search optimization, having internal links, that is a link from one page on your site to another, that's important. So you want to be able to do that. And you can also add links to other websites, and that's important in creating your content. When appropriate, link to another website or a page on your site. Now, an important choice for links is, do you want to open them in the same tab? Or should I say, when your visitors click a link, do you want to open in the same tab or same window? Or do you want to open in a new tab or new window? And let's take a look in Wix, just to see another example. Go in and to edit the text. This goes to pacesettersite.com. I'm going to highlight that text, click the link button, choose web address, enter the web address I want it to go to, and have it selected to open a new window. Click done, and now it's added a link to pacesettersite.com. So again, find where links are handled in your system. Learn to use them. They're important for search optimization, especially for linking to other pages on your site. And they're just a good practice to link to other sites when that's the appropriate thing to do. Now let's take a look at what all of that looks like in the code on the front end that goes out to the public. This is what it mostly looks like. Again, you don't need to memorize this. Title is in what's called a title tag. It's in the header of the page. There's something called a meta description. And here's the description that when you enter it in whatever system you use, when it's published to the world, it looks like this in the code. Then we have an H1 tag, which surrounds some text. That's the headline. The P tag, or paragraph tag, surrounds some other text. That's a paragraph. We have here an image, and within the image is something called the alt tag. Or should I say alt attribute of the image tag. That's the technically correct way of saying it. Then more text, another headline. That's a H2 level headline. When we want to make something bold, here's a strong tag surrounding the word website. An EM tag works similarly. And when you add a link, it's called an anchor tag, actually. The href is the address it goes to. It surrounds, you have a beginning and end tag, this text, go to pacesettersite.com. So you don't need to remember that part of this very much. Just realize that's what's happening. When you edit a site, you're editing the code that goes out to the world. And in particular, what you should be most concerned with, should I say starting off, you should be concerned with these 7 tags. Title, descriptions, headings, paragraphs, alt text, inline formatting, the strong and EM tags in particular, and links. So find where these tags are edited in your system. Learn how to edit them. They'll become a good foundation of good HTML that will talk to Google better and work better for accessibility. Once I post the next video, I will add a link to that video in the description for this video, and thanks for watching. Hey, one more important detail that I forgot. Well, while I have you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Okay.
Was that a good take?
Yep.